Hey everybody, and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends sit around and talk all things Invincible, a comic book and animated series created by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and joining me today are my friends Bill.
Hi everyone.
And TJ.
Oh, hello, it's TJ.
What's going on, guys?
What's up? It's good to be back.
It is. So, we've got a very fun episode planned. We've got some Invincible-related news, as well as our discussion and impressions of Ryan Ottley and Donny Cates' run on Hulk. We read Volume 1, continuing our co-creator spotlight series, whatever you want to call it, where we take a look at other projects done by the Invincible co-creators. And this month's episode is all about Hulk. So excited to talk all about that one later in the episode. But first, a few housekeeping things. You can find us over on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com if you want to be a part of the show or write in with your thoughts, suggestions, or ideas for topics, anything like that. We are also the Oblivion Song podcast, which if you have not read Oblivion Song, it's finished. It's done. We actually did our final issue / episode with Robert Kirkman last month, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good one too.
It was great. So
you can go back and read each issue, and then after each individual issue, you can read along with us on the Oblivion Song podcast.
Get our impressions as we go through. Yeah, and that was an awesome episode with Robert Kirkman, so definitely worth a listen. We do talk about some Invincible-related stuff as well as more, including things like Mission Impossible. But at the top of the episode, I always like to call out that we do talk about spoilers. So if you stumbled on this show or on this podcast because you liked the Invincible show, we do talk about the comics with full spoiler, so be aware. Other than that, other housekeeping type stuff, we are going to C2E2. This is our first convention since October 2019, I believe it was, when
New York Comic Con.
When we got to meet up with Robert Kirkman at New York Comic Con.
It's a month away. I am getting very excited.
I know, it's going to be really cool. We're also doing a meetup in Lockport, Illinois, which is a little outside Chicago, the day before on that Thursday, because Kyle Higgins was kind enough to include us as characters in his comic book Radiant Black. So we're doing this cool meetup thing at a local bar in Lockport, Illinois, with a bunch of the Massiverse creators.
A lot of people talk about how I look jacked in the comic.
Mm-hmm. I think we all look better than we do in real life. I'll just say that.
I think that I look like that in real life, though. Like everyone, what I was going to say is that people are going to know how jacked I actually am. So if you want to know in real life, like, come on down,
or how jacked you are not.
Well, there's no way to know. There's no way to know.
I'll be wearing my t-shirt.
What is the name of the bar, Ryan? Embers,
correct? Yeah.
If you want the details on it, you could go to, I think the Circle Guy News, Twitter. You can go to Kyle Higgins' Twitter. You can go to Radiant Black's Twitter, and just scroll, and you'll find the details.
That's right.
Come hang out with us.
Yes, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait. Can't wait to go to a convention in this post-Invincible animated series world too, man. That's gonna be a lot of fun. We've talked about that before, about how it's going to be like, there's going to be more artwork, maybe some cosplays. Like, it's just going to be more familiar.
I am obviously, if you're watching on YouTube and can see behind me, huge on original art and missions and things like that. And I go to cons all the time, and for years, I've looked around, and obviously you never see Invincible anywhere. You never see anybody have like their own print ups or prints or things like that. Anytime I ask for like a Rexplode or even an Invincible, Adam Eve, anybody, everyone's like, who is that? Do you have a reference? And I feel like it's going to be different now.
Yeah, I think so. I remember back when, we were going to cons and I was working on sketch cards and everything, where I'd be getting a lot of Invincible cards. I'd say more than 50-50, I'd be giving them reference. I'd be, they'd look it up on their phone and like show me like this guy, and
it
but
it wasn't weird. It wasn't like someone not knowing who Batman was. You expected. You're like, I want Invincible. This is the character I want.
Because the first thing you'd always be like, you familiar with Invincible? Invincible? It's like now it's like I don't think you
would always have to say. If you ask that, you would have to say type in Invincible Robert Kirkman or Invincible Ryan Ottley, and then it would pop up.
Yep.
So
it's going to be fun. Really looking forward to it. And we've got one more episode before that. Our next episode of the podcast is going to be all about the Skybound X-25 Battle Beast story. And we'll talk about Chroma, the Lorenzo De Felici story in that one on that episode. And then after that, C2E2. Going to be fun. So I've got one more thing in housekeeping before we get into the news of the Invincible related news of the episode. And that is a callback to a segment that we haven't touched on in a while. And that is hashtag Invincible for Moms.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I was hanging out with Katie and her mom, my wife and my mother-in-law recently. And
I thought you were going to say your mom, which would be hilarious.
No, not my mom.
That's the only thing that I was thinking is like, oh, she watched it. Cool, awesome.
No, and it's not what you think. We were talking about this was a month ago so it's been a while since I've been meaning to tell you guys this. We were talking about having Robert Kirkman on the show, and we were talking to her about how we got a chance to do that and everything, and Katie's mom looks at her and she's like, should I tell him? Should I tell him? And I'm like, tell me what?
And then Kirkman just busts through the door.
She's like, I'm like, did you watch it? And she's like, no, I read it. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you read it?
Wow.
And
wait, did she watch it and then
the whole thing?
She didn't watch anything. She hasn't watched anything. And I was like, okay, so what do you mean you read it? She's like, well, I went to your podcast website, and she went to the reading order. And so she started at the top of the reading order with Tech Jacket, and she read all of Tech Jacket.
Oh my gosh.
And then she went on to Invincible, and she read, she's currently, I just checked with her today, she's currently halfway through volume 8, My Favorite Martian trade paperback. And she's talking about Rick and William, or Invincible and William looking for Rick and everything like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did she talk about Tech Jacket? Did she talk about like?
No, I didn't get a lot of time to talk to her about it, or for whatever reason, and it was cascading. It was like, what do you mean? Did you watch it? Oh no, you read it. Oh, you read Tech Jacket. Wait, how far did you read? Volume 8? And then it was like, you got to watch the show. Like all of those things were kind of happening at once.
So did she read like Adam and Eve, like?
The Invincible Presents?
That hasn't happened yet,
yeah.
I don't think.
No, I think...
That's chronologically, though.
I mean...
Oh, I guess chronologically, yeah.
I think you could read that at any point. It is encouraged to read it right before stuff that happens with a certain conquest.
And Adam and Eve.
Yeah, but... Yeah,
So, your mother-in-law has read Invincible, which is a huge part of your life. I think it's time. Your wife needs to read Invincible.
I think if my mother-in-law finishes it, maybe then we can get Katie to read some of it. But
Katie needs to read it.
We need to encourage a book club setting for this.
An all-mom episode.
Could you imagine like a bunch of moms? Like, okay, we're like 35, 36 years old, right? So when we say moms, you could be talking about like my wife. We're talking about like our mom age group. So like, what is that, like mid 40s? What? No,
50s.
People in 50s.
Yeah.
I feel old saying that. That doesn't
60s.
feel right to me.
Yeah.
So 50 and 60 age group.
Yeah.
Book reading club.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
I can't believe she read.
I know.
I've always liked her.
That was one thing that did come up. She did ask. She was like, I don't really know why I read that. Like that hasn't really connected. And I'm like, yeah, so that is a separate thing, but later in the series he'll make an appearance and then you'll know who he is. So that did come up. because it was like, that character hasn't quite made his appearance. Yeah, he did show up once during that fight with Omnipotous, but I don't know if she caught that or if I'm pretty sure she had gotten to that point. But other than that, so we'll see. I did tell her, I was like, as far as that list on our website, that is like everything. Maybe just stick with Invincible until you finish it. Then if you want, I'll give you some other stuff you can read. Because she loved the Walking Dead show and all that kind of stuff. But and I want to say at one point she considered reading the comic. I don't think she actually did though. So yeah, we'll see.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was excited to tell you guys about that. All right, let's move into Invincible related news. We've got the first thing, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this, the Skybound X25 issue. The first page was revealed, and if it is actually the first page, I guess that's something to discuss. I sent it over to you guys in chat if you wanted to take a look at it while we talk about it.
Before we get into like that page and what we think it could be and the story and all that, I have some news.
Yeah.
So when the cover, when Battle Beast Returning was first revealed and we saw the cover, we questioned, I think on the podcast too, who the colorist was. We saw like the signature
because there was like an
but we didn't know who
R
it was
on the cover or something.
Yeah,
Did Katie's mom color?
But we didn't know who it was. I think I even put it out on Twitter and I didn't get a response or anything, but I found out who was coloring it and could not be more hype because it's somebody who the three of us have talked to. It's the colorist who we have talked to
FCO,
probably
is
the
it?
most. No.
Or Fairbairn?
No, I'm willing to say that we've talked about this colorist even more than them.
I don't know.
Over there on the Oblivion Song podcast because it's Annalisa Leone.
No fucking way.
The colorist from Oblivion Song. Yes.
Are you kidding me?
And all we talk about is how amazing the colors are in Oblivion Song. Is that not perfect?
Are you sure that's not something else in Skybound X that she's doing?
No,
it's definitely Invincible?
No, it is because I saw it last like Friday. She posted it on her Instagram, and then like 2 days ago, Ryan Ottley posted it on his Instagram about how much he's always wanted to work with her.
That's awesome.
So that's a thing. There you go.
So this justifies asking her to be on the podcast, right?
Oh my! I'd love to have
that'd be so cool.
Leone on the podcast for sure.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Wow! It's so amazing how doors open. Like, I love seeing careers like really explode and expand with just following, like honestly, like Kirkman's stuff, like who he.
Yeah, it's like the Kirkman universe.
Like who he brings into these projects.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Wow.
It is weird how that happens too, because like not only does that happen in the industry, but I feel like it's also kind of happened in like The Walking Dead. We've seen the same thing happen where it's like, all these Walking Dead characters are voicing the Guardians of the Globe. And it's like, it's weird how all that tends to just follow Kirkman.
That's great.
It's awesome. Love it.
So cool. Well, now I'm looking at this with even more interest. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at this Battle Beast cover. So again, we thinking this is the very first page of the Battle Beast story in Skybound 25, Skybound X.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I think so too. So I also sent you guys the page from issue 19, and it's a fun little comparison between the two to kind of see what changed and what was the same. What's the same between them, and it is spot on, man. Like right down to Bulletproof's like armor, you know, like the his suit. I'm sorry, I meant Black Samson. Bulletproof's arm being broken and the way it's broken, like his right arm.
Yeah.
All of that is so spot on with the way it was drawn originally in issue 19 of Invincible. He throws them down in the same exact way. Like it is, like it looks like he just
went over
that. Like the
There's
layout
so much more detail though. Look at his foot going into the
Oh yeah,
going into the portal.
Yeah,
look how much more detail he put on it. It's
As we were
crazy.
just talking about watching the growth of some of these people that have come on over the years and everything like that. Look at that. Just seeing the 1-for-1 on Battle Beast stepping through the portal is so cool.
The thing though is like you could see his like Cory Walker's influence on his art.
Oh yeah.
Like even that one panel of his foot, it looks. If I said that's Cory Walker, you would be like, okay.
Yep.
Because it looks just like Cory Walker.
Yeah,
right?
which we know early on they were trying to ease the transition and have a little bit more of Cory Walker's style. And then, Mark up against the rocks with that, that face saying jerk. And it's spot on, man. That looks just like that. So I don't know. I think it looks amazing. Really excited, even more excited now knowing that Annalisa Leone is doing the colors on it, which is insane. Yeah.
So these are her colors that we're looking at right now.
That's what TJ's saying, man.
You can believe it. You heard it here.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah. So we theorized what the story would be, and we thought maybe it starts with that moment, judging from the cover of Skybound X25. And now I think that's proof. So we turn the page, and is it the other point of view? Right? It's got to be, right?
Yes, 100%.
It is where he's going.
Yep.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
That's great. What are you shaking your head at, Bill?
Just, I love it. It's the perfect way to start something like that. Like to bring it back to the original and then, dude, I'm so stoked.
Less than a month before we can read this. Speaking of Skybound X25, there are some San Diego Comic-Con exclusive variants of this issue. One of them is the ridiculous looking James Herron variant of Battle Beast.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
It looks nuts. I love that. Like that style of art looks so good on Battle Beast.
Yeah, it does. Like he's James Herron's kind of reminiscent of Daniel Ward Johnson, in my opinion. I think that's fair to say.
Like more gritty. I love that. It looks so sick.
Yeah, really great line work. I think they're both amazing artists, and I loved Ultra Mega. I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So seeing his take on Battle Beast and on its sick looking cover, really exciting. And there's also a black and white version of that variant. So something
Ollie's
else to
version. Yep.
Look at. No, of the James Herron one too.
Oh, both, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, color and black and white, which is pretty sweet. Last thing on the Invincible related news front, this has been a good episode. We got some good stuff going on.
There's some things happening.
We've got Ryan Ottley I don't know if it was yesterday, I think 2 days ago, revealed through Felix Felix Comic Art that there would be some exclusive prints made through Felix, and you can get them through, like I said, through Felix or maybe at San Diego Comic-Con. It was a little vague at the time, but now we know because they went live today for sale from Felix via their newsletter. It is a new San Diego Comic-Con print, and the black and white version of it was available and limited numbered to 100, available through Felix Comic Art with head sketches on it. And it was the first 100 to sell.
And they were like legit, like it was like a remark, but it was more detailed and it was completely covered, colored. I mean, the examples looked really cool.
They look really sweet.
And you could get up to 2 characters on it if you wanted. Like, that's sick.
Oh yeah.
If you got one, when you get it, post
definitely
it and tag us in the photo so we can check it out.
Yeah, definitely share with us. I know Corey Puga from listener on the podcast reached out and said that he went in for one, that unsure at the time whether or not he got it, but that's really exciting. Yeah. But the color version is going to be made available as a print at San Diego Comic-Con in person only, and that looks amazing, right?
And I want it.
I know. It looks so good.
We're not going to San Diego Comic-Con.
Not this year, maybe next year. But we might try and get our hands on one. We'll reach out to some friends that are going. But I think that's a great looking print. I'm excited for that, as well as any other goodies that we can get from Ryan Ottley in Chicago. He also has a store set up. I don't know. You could probably check it out on his Twitter if you look back a few posts. He did say that he would be launching his store soon, and there was a link that you can sign up to be notified when it went live and everything. So that's exciting too. So maybe we'll be able to get some prints and stuff through there.
Fun thing.
That's
crazy
right.
How I don't even want to think about how expensive stuff's going to be.
Bring a budget. It's just like going to the casino, Bill. Just have a plan. Don't spend past that amount, and just.
TJ will never buy a house. Okay, this is the problem.
This is right here. You see this? This is my house.
This is my house.
This behind me on my wall.
All right, so that does it for Invincible related news. We're going to jump into the main topic in a second here, but first, I've got an email. This comes from Owen Saylor. They say, "Hello, members of the Invincible podcast. It has recently come to my attention that you will be covering Hulk by Donny Cates and Ryan Ottley on your next episode. Even though I'm a huge fan of both Mr. Cates and Mr. Ottley, I still have yet to read Hulk, but I will do so at some point in the future. So my question is, how do you guys think this book stacks in comparison to other Hulk runs, i.e. Incredible Hulk by Peter David or Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing? Thanks, Owen. P.S. There's also this other group out there called Circle Guy News that sounds a lot like you. I just thought I'd let it come to your attention. Wink. We'll have to keep an eye on them.
Stealing our voices.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start.
Go for it.
It's going to be pretty easy.
Well, I don't think any of us have read a Hulk run.
Never read a Hulk run, no.
No, I haven't. I've heard really good things about Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk. I remember when it was first coming out, it was kind of poised as almost like a horror. And it was really, I don't know. I've heard rave reviews. I know a bit about what it's about and everything. I am definitely interested in it. I'd say reading this got me even more interested in the Immortal Hulk run, especially knowing that the Immortal Hulk run is over and it's kind of complete. For the most part, and I think I could speak on behalf of all three of us, we do shy a little bit away from a lot of the big two, Marvel and DC ongoing runs for the most part. There are some things here and there. I've dabbled with X-Men, TJ's dabbled with Batman, but the things we prefer are mostly self-contained stories without the baggage of continuity, which is what it is sometimes, and take it or leave it. Some people dig it, some people don't. And I think there are times where I appreciate it and like it, and there are times where I don't. But yeah, you guys have anything?
Can I say that? So there's a thing. There's this thing that has happened since we've started doing this at the beginning of the year, where we joke about how we want Destroyer, and the fans refuse to give it to us. And I think it's a thing, and I love it, and Bill hates it, which makes me love it even more. But I think it's actually quite perfect that we're doing a Ryan Ottley thing for this month when there's so much Ryan Ottley news. Like, it worked out great.
It did work out really great. It did.
It worked out. It was good.
Someday maybe we'll read Destroyer though. We'll see. When there's nothing
someone
left.
Started. I can't remember who it was. Might have been. Was it Matt Martin? Somebody started a hashtag of Never Destroyer.
Never Destroyer.
It was Mitch.
It's probably Mitch.
Of course, it was Mitch.
Come on, guys. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read any Marvel or Hulk in particular, so this was like one of my, honestly, it was my first Hulk story ever that I read, and it's like in the middle of all this continuity and all this story.
I mean, it is technically a number one.
Yeah, but it's not. Like, I mean, issue 1, he goes into this fucking gigantic Iron Man suit that was created for a reason that happened like in other comics.
Yes,
so
that part, I do remember that. I mean, because really, I do look at this, and we're going to start getting into the discussion on this, but I do kind of look at this as fairly self-contained. You can enjoy it. Yes, it fits into the continuity. Yes, there's that moment with Hulk and what's going on with Thor and everything like that. But that's kind of ancillary. It really doesn't have much to do with the actual story that they are telling. Because
your fucking words, Ryan. Ancillary?
Ancillary.
You said one. Bill, you said one earlier.
He did.
That it was like it was. You put a V at the front of it. What did you say? Somebody was.
Oh, when we were talking about the movie when Liz hit me
ferociously.
What is
Which I don't know if that's a word.
I don't think
ferociously.
That's a word.
I think ferocious like, and vicious.
Ferociously with an F, not a B.
That doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound as ferocious as it should sound.
Anyways,
we get it though. Yeah. So I don't want to interrupt you, Bill, but we're as far as well. Okay.
What is it that we are reviewing?
So we are talking about Hulk. That's it. It's actually called Smashtronaut. It's issues 1 through 6 by Donny Cates and Ryan Ottley.
So I feel like we have a group chat, right? And we were talking, and I feel like we never actually decided on what we were reviewing, if it was going to be the 6 issues or if it was going to be all of the current.
Because there's only 2 more. There's 2 more past this.
Okay, I read everything. And
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear what you think when we get to the end of this.
Did you read everything?
Well, I read the Free Comic Book Day issue and then 6 issues.
So there's actually, I read a lot more.
Oh.
And there is more than what you think there is.
We only ever read issue 1. Anyways, we're going to get into that soon. Volume 1. But first up, Donny Cates, Ryan Ottley, inks by our boy Cliff Rathburn, and colors by, I gotta double check here, Frank Martin. I'm pretty sure he was on for the whole thing. I'm not 100%, but I think he was. And I also don't see Donny Cates, Ryan Ottley. I'm not sure if Cliff Rathburn did them all. Actually, I actually think he did not.
He didn't, because I'm in issue 1 right now.
It looks like he didn't do issue 1, but I think he did them all after that. But that's interesting. It looks like, looking at it now, I think Ryan Ottley inked issue 1 because it doesn't list an inker in the credits. So this came out, of course, Free Comic Book Day issue came out, which kind of set up, announced it, did the tease, kind of like a little prelude story. It was like 10 pages. It released in August of 2021. And then issue 1 of this series came out the following November. The 6 issues that are in volume 1, the issue 6 ended just this past April. This is the most recent thing, as TJ is going to tell us about later. This is the most recent thing that we have talked about in our co-creators catalog here. Before we get into impressions on this volume, I wanted to talk a little bit about our history with not only, our history with Ryan Ottley, but about Donny Cates. I want to start with you, TJ.
There hasn't been anything that I've read of Donny Cates that wasn't phenomenal. It just blew me away. Like crossover, obviously. Like Ryan, are you up to date on crossover?
I believe so. There hasn't been one in a little over a month though, I don't think, because I'm pretty sure I'm all caught up. It might be possible that I'm 1 issue behind because it has been a while since the last issue, so maybe there's a new issue soon, but I'm almost positive I'm 100% caught up on crossover.
Okay, so there's that crossover is his current, but I think the first thing that I read of Donny Cates was his Thanos run, which turned into and again, I'm not a Marvel guy, and Ryan, I think it was you that made me read it, and I was like, I'll check it out, and it was amazing. And then that turned into Ghost Rider. What is it? Cosmic Ghost Rider, which was incredible.
It was pretty good.
And my favorite thing by Donny Cates ever in life is Redneck.
Really? You read Thanos before Redneck? I thought you read Redneck before that. Interesting.
I'm pretty sure that's. I'm pretty sure that the first thing I read was Thanos, but Redneck is so good. It's so good. It's so good.
It is.
And
good.
then, and then there's God Country as well, which I mean,
God Country was awesome. I did read that.
Awesome.
I read, So I read, God Country that came at your recommendation, TJ. Thanos, I absolutely loved, and I think the reason I like that so much, has a lot to do with this volume of Hulk. Other than that, crossover, and I haven't picked up Redneck yet, but I am excited because I think that's ending soon, right? Like, isn't that kind of going to its final arc?
Yep.
So I'm excited to pick that up. I'll probably wait till it's done at this point and get some.
It might
be
done. I'm like, I don't think it's done yet.
Now, Bill, you read some Redneck, right?
I read the first volume of Redneck, and then I excitedly bought the second volume on like Comixology.
Wasn't it like Spanish or something?
Spanish, and I think it starts with like a boar, like someone's hunting a boar or something, and it's like all in Spanish. I'm like, did I miss something? Is this like stylistic? What? And then I like.
Keep going.
I'm like, oh my fucking god! I bought the Spanish one. Comixology, everyone. So
there's things that have. There are like Breaking Bad moments where it's like, oh, like you're just like nervous and oh man, it's great.
Redneck was great, and again, maybe it's because it was an original thing that he did, and it wasn't about trying to write. All these other characters that have personalities and like Thanos and Ghost Rider and all these Marvel characters and stuff. But Redneck is so different from everything else that he's done.
Yep.
That it almost isn't a good representation of how he writes.
And TJ, you'll be the only one that can be the judge of this. But I feel like Bill would like God Country if you liked Redneck.
Probably.
Because it is wholly original.
Because I didn't like Thanos.
How did you not like Thanos?
Cosmic Ghost Rider. Because it's very like he has and this is I really don't want to offend anyone. This is just my opinion. It's just my opinion. But he reminds me of that one fucking writer that did a lot of DC stuff. Kingdom Come.
Alex Ross.
Kingdom Come was a
yes. No, Alex Ross.
Kingdom Come was amazing.
He did the art.
Not Mark Wade.
Wade? Wasn't it Mark Wade?
Well, there are comic book fans out there.
Didn't he do like he did the Justice League too, like when it was the death of Batman, didn't he? Like that whole big thing, or
he did. Well, it was Justice. I know Justice was done by Alex Ross.
It is Mark Wade. I was right.
Yeah.
It's Mark Wade.
So that type of writing annoys me. Like it's like
Kingdom Come was incredible.
Kingdom Come is really good, but it's too poetic. Like
I was about to say it's really narrative and there's a lot of it's narration and dialogue and
and it's just it's not my cup of tea if it's not like appropriate. Am I like I want to see like I'm reading fucking superheroes and I'm in fucking like psychology 101 doing homework. Like it's just and unfortunately I kind of felt the same way about Hulk. Like it's a fucking Hulk story and it turned into like this really deep like multi-layer I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh man,
well, we'll get into it.
Well, that's what. No, we're at that point with impressions.
Are we?
But it works with Redneck. But it works with Redneck, like, and it's not as heavy in Redneck.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys read the Free Comic Book Day prequel to the series?
Yes.
I thought that was really good too.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was cool.
A cool introduction to this character, to this world, to him. Like the dialogue of him going against MODOK and everything was cool.
I didn't like get the whole thing of him like saying that he's done being a hero. Like he talked about that here and there about how like I've done the hero thing, whatever. He talked about that, but I didn't, because I actually went back and read the prequel after I read everything else. It was the last thing that I read.
Yeah.
I read the Free Comic Book Day. But him saying like I'm done being a hero. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to take this Hulk
I'm leaving
that
and
I
never
have
coming
control
back.
of,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to go see other worlds. Because he's like, invincible.
Yeah.
Brought it back. But so he's going to go take Hulk and go see other worlds and stuff, and that's how.
So
that's
the main premise here is,
here we go. The story is
I was
that.
Gonna say,
you want me to do it?
No, I don't want you to do it.
You want me to do it? Because I'll do it.
Off panel, because it's not important, is that somehow Bruce Banner has found a way to split the Hulk's psyche. He is the body of Hulk with the mind of Bruce Banner, which is what we've seen a dozen times. We know what that makes sense. It is Hulk controlling the body of Hulk. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Bruce controlling the body of Hulk, but he's taken the psyche of the monster, that child, that rage, and put that into an area that he calls the engine room, and that he can then anger that to fuel the rage and to fuel the power, because the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. Bill, you don't think that's cool?
I don't know. It's like a cool way. Like you said, it's been we've seen it a million times, right? Like we've seen Hulk and the different personalities like fighting with each other and stuff. That's like what Hulk's all about.
Yeah.
And they're like, how can we make it interesting? Why don't we have Bruce figuratively while also literally flying a Hulk spaceship, while Hulk, who he is in an engine room. Mm-hmm. So the spaceship's psyche.
We're seeing what's going on in his mind. We're just getting a visual for what is happening in his mind. But it
was, in my opinion, I thought it was dumb.
Wow.
I thought it was.
But you also are living in a world where there is magic, there's Doctor Strange, there's things like that happening, and I don't think in the Marvel universe it's crazy. And I'll be honest with you, the first issue that I read it, I agree with you. Like I didn't love that, but then once I accepted it, I thought it was great.
After they say that, it literally does a hard page cut turn to Spider-Man being like, "Hey, real quick, is anyone very confused?" Yeah. Like they know, they're aware that this is weird. Mm-hmm. That you just have to go with it and go on this trip, and it's out there. It is psychological, like you were saying, Bill. It is heady. It is, and then that's just one layer of it, because obviously this is about the other layer, other than those two that are in his mind. There's that other personality that is from the trauma that Bruce sustained as a child from his father's abuse, that he's then pushed onto the Hulk, because Bruce Banner was abused as a child, and that thing that he kept bottled up was kind of expressed in the Hulk. So by Bruce caging and abusing the Hulk's psyche, this creates this other personality called the Titan, essentially. That's what I'm gathering. I don't know. I think it's a really interesting swing. I don't know. I really dug it.
I don't buy Bruce Banner, who is like a genius and like creating a spaceship where he like literally has like a fucking like captain's chair, and he's looking out of Hulk's eyes, and his attack button says smash. Like
I know. I thought that was awesome, because that is him making the decision to attack. And
pick a tone.
The spaceship, those visuals were for you. I think those visuals were for the reader. Like he didn't literally make that. I mean, in a way he did. Doctor Strange even says, I've never seen anything like that. Like in Doctor Strange in the movie, and whether we're dealing with, Mirrorverse stuff, or whether we're dealing with things that happen in the, Multiverse of Madness, they're not in an apple orchard. That's not where they are. Like, I don't know. It's getting into that kind of stuff.
I think you're critiquing it too much. You need like a pipe and like more like white on the sides of your hair, where you could just like, you're like Ratatouille. If I don't like it, I don't swallow.
I don't swallow. That person is the person that would love this, because they'd be like, wow, there's so many layers of psychological torment. And it's just like, I felt bad for the Hulk. Like the actual Hulk.
The psyche of the Hulk.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. Like he was pleading with Bruce. Like,
I think you're supposed to.
Yeah, like so that was really good. And then the ending, obviously, when they had their little moment. Yeah. But I hated the premise so much that it hurt like my ability to.
It's disappointing that you couldn't get past that. Because again, like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is weird. I don't know if I like this, but I was able to kind of separate and accept what it is. And 100% those like the button that says Smash, like you brought up, for sure there are campy moments throughout this, but the overall arcing story of it, of like what Ryan said about the emotion of it, and even taking away the emotion, but the action of it, the Ryan Ottley of it was just that.
So can we give Bill a minute to redeem himself and at least talk about the art?
So please say something bad about the art.
We were talking. I can't remember if it was on the air or off the air, but Ryan was like, "Did you read everything?" And I was like, "Yeah." But like that's relevant to this episode because what we're really doing is we're going over Ryan Ottley's work, and he's the drawer.
Did you?
So I just looked at the pictures. No, I read it. Yeah. That's the thing. Like I read the issues when they came out. Like I stopped at 4.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I read them each as they came out. Every now and then I'd get behind on one and have 2 or something. But then I did reread it for this read through, and it was a lot better in my opinion, all at once. Which a lot of the time that's just the way it is. You forget a lot of things when you read month to month, and it's like, oh, it's been 3 months since that happened. Oh, I forgot what happened in was it Tulsa or something like that, or sent.
I think it was Tulsa.
Yeah, right. I was like, what happened again? And you're like, that kind of stuff always happens. But being able to read it from the beginning, straight through in like pretty much one sitting was awesome. Yeah. I really like that.
And I did the same thing where I read the first 4 as they were coming out, and then I got behind on it like I do with, that's just what I do with comics. I get behind. And then I started from the beginning and read the whole thing, and it reads really well and fast. Like it's like, it feels very cinematic. Like it just flowed for me, and just read the whole thing, which
I was
altogether. I think it reads better altogether.
I was surprised with what Ryan Ottley got away with.
Holy shit! Can we talk about the violence and the gore?
And what Donny Cates wrote it. So obviously he wrote like Hulk squeezes and smashes Bruce Banner's head. Like
it's just a small T+ on these. Like there isn't like this isn't. I know they don't do like Marvel Max or whatever, or any kind of black label or thing, as far as I know. I could be wrong there, but this, I mean, you could have picked this up off the shelf. Like this is just a normal Hulk issue, and it is gory.
There is a part where Bruce Hulk, like all these Ross's army comes, right? And Hulk's on the cliff. He's like, psh, I got this. Don't worry. He's like, no, you don't get it. And he jumps in the air. And the next panel, like it shows him in the ship. This was kind of cool. And it's like ripped to shreds. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And Hulk is like obliterated. Yeah. Like obliterated.
Dude, early on when Stark fuses his arm to the ground with vibranium nanites or whatever, and he rips his own hand off.
Yeah.
And then puts come on. I mean, it's so fun. And so one thing that I want to bring up, because this was one of the things I loved most about Thanos, is that much like, in a way, well, let me back up a little bit. When I was younger and getting into comic books and like, X-Men trading cards and all that kind of stuff, one of the things I was really fascinated with was Age of Apocalypse. I loved the idea of this alternate timeline where Apocalypse won and like Cyclops actually has one eye and he lost it in a fight with Wolverine, who now only has one hand, and like all these cool twists on alternate universe characters. Invincible, we love that kind of shit. Donny Cates, I feel like, just does so well with that kind of stuff. Thanos, that was one of the things I loved most about Thanos. Hulk and Thanos is crazy. Like Cosmic Ghost Rider is this awesome character. Like he takes things that we know and flips them in a really creative way that makes a lot of sense. Like General Ross saying, "If you don't stop him, I'm gonna kill your star pupil. I'm gonna kill him right now. I'm gonna do it and
Ross
say goodbye."
Bastard, and
wasn't
he? Like, he was like evil. There was no good in him at all,
dude. And like Bruce killing him, but anyways, and then pushing the boy. Oh, by the way, his name is Peter Parker, and then he stands up, and it's a Spider Hulk. Like,
and the radiation that the spider went through was gamma radiation. So he's like a Hulk Spider like hybrid.
Fucking Marvel Zombies? What the fuck?
I mean, all the stages. How fun was it?
Zombies,
oh my god!
Every stage it did. It would be like gods, demons.
My favorite
I loved
image.
Seeing what the next stage was going to be, and it's like ratcheting up, and then you get to the end, and she skips like 7, 8, 9, like, and it's like
My favorite image, I think, of the whole thing is just this splash page of Hulk behind a door.
When he opens the door at the end?
Yeah, I can't see my screen, but I can't see if you can see it. But it's really bad. There it is. He's just covered in the blood of Galactus that's dead behind him. Like, so good.
Yep. That for some reason was Hulk.
Which again, so when it comes to the Galactus Hulk, when it comes to like Banner's relationship with his father, Thor and what's going on with him, those are things that like apparently I looked up some of these things, and like apparently there's this thing in Marvel lore that Galactus takes on the image or the face of whatever he's facing or something like that. Like, why would he look like a human? Like, so like, I don't know. And I think Donny Cates played into that tropiness, because he even says in the thing when
it was funny
when she said, which for some reason looks like the Hulk. Like, dude, it was so funny. Yeah, there was a lot of comedic beats, a lot of touching moments. So TJ, we haven't talked too much about, like, I gather you liked it. Like, what were your impressions of it?
I mean, Ryan Ottley, obviously, and it was perfect. And we knew it was going to be perfect for him to do something like this. And like Bill said, I was, even with Ottley doing it, I'm surprised with what they got away with and what they were allowed to do in a Marvel book. But yeah, I thought it was great. I liked the emotion of it. I liked the overall, like I said, reading it as a whole was awesome. And like we said, we've never read Hulk before, and this was a good, first for me, reading Hulk, and it being Donny Cates, which is one of my favorite writers, and Ottley is one of my favorite artists. So I loved it, and when it finishes, I mean, I'm gonna continue to read it.
Wow.
For sure. I'll definitely finish it.
Cool. So
there's not much left.
Yeah. So what I was thinking was, before we talk about the future of this series, I also love that when Ryan Ottley did Spider-Man, one of the first issues, if not the first issue, also showed like the Avengers and everything. Like, I love that anytime Ryan Ottley gets to draw on a Marvel series, it's like, yeah, but we're also going to see we see Cyclops in this, we see Phoenix, we see Cyclops get his head blown off, like Tony Stark in this universe dies from alcoholism, like all this crazy stuff. He's getting to draw Marvel zombies. We get to see Marvel zombies in this thing, like we've already talked about, but like all the characters, we see Thanos, we see Galactus, we see Fing Fang Foom, like giant Wolverine that looks like the first appearance of Wolverine with the whiskers and like ripping his claw off, stabbing his eye out, and all this kind of stuff. Like, not to always bring it back to Kirkman. Well, wasn't Marvel Zombies created by Robert Kirkman? Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Dude, that's pretty cool. I don't know.
Full circle.
Yeah.
And I will say I did continue to read.
So yes, tell me a bit about that, because I know after this, it's Banner of War, which was, I noticed, not Ryan Ottley. There was like a side story that they took a break for a couple months, and you find out what happened between the fight between Hulk and Hulk and Thor. It does say at the very end, to celebrate the 60th anniversary of both Hulk and Thor, there's a crossover event between the two series: Banner of War Alpha #1, Thor 25, Hulk 7, Thor 26, Hulk 8, written by Donny Cates and drawn. See, exactly, Bill, which is why I kind of stopped reading. I do know at some point Ryan Ottley returns, and they pick up the story with talking about, they tease it in this story. Where do all those abominations go from the portal? They get sent somewhere, and I'm assuming it's the story of where they are. And judging by the one or two covers I've seen since Ryan Ottley's been back, or looks like he's coming back, it does look like there's a lot of Thor and Asgard type stuff. So TJ, what did you read?
So it's just more fucking chaos and amazing. It's really, really good fighting. But
was it not Ryan Ottley?
No, it wasn't. It was
all right. So it was Banner of War and that story.
Cocolo.
Okay.
But it was still awesome. Like the fighting was insane. Anytime you see Thor versus Hulk is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Hulk Thor. Like Thor becomes a Hulk, and it's nuts. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And I know that Bill, you're shaking your head, but like,
so does it feel like a continuation of this, or does it feel like?
No, it does. It does. Absolutely. Like,
okay.
Yeah, it does. 100% it does.
See, yes, and that's the problem.
Because I read, like, I went from, Hulk number 7, which led right into Thor number 26, which I read. And I think it's really good. There's the
because
Tony Stark.
Okay. All right. Don't tell me. I'll check it out.
I'll check it out. Things that make it worth reading. Like Tony Stark comes back, and like there's more Avengers that you see that are like surprising moments. Like it's oh man, like
so Donny Cates did a run on
I feel
Thor.
Like it almost kind of gets better, honestly.
Damn. Donny Cates did a run on Thor recently. And I think it was like All Father Thor or something like that. And he like did this whole new redesign with Thor and everything. I think he did with Thor what he did with Hulk, basically. And so part of me felt like, well, I don't know. Do I need to know what's going on with his version of Thor to get to appreciate this?
No, you do, because it plays directly into Hulk's story.
But that's what I'm saying. Do I need to read all of Donny Cates' Thor run?
Oh, I don't.
That came out a few years ago.
I don't.
You didn't, right?
No, I don't think you do.
Okay, then that's what I wanted to know. Interesting.
Yeah. No, literally.
I heard that was good, though.
Hulk number 7 ends, and then you go to Thor number 26.
Yeah, like
and
Wolfman.
It literally picks up like right there and just keeps going.
Yeah, it's like Wolfman and Invincible. They did one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will continue to read it, TJ, because I want to, and it was good. And I'm pretty sure Ryan Ottley's staying on for another arc, like he's doing another 6 or so issues. And I don't know if he's staying on after that. I don't know if that's announced or not yet. But if that's the entire run, and like, I want to read as long as Donny Cates is working with Ryan Ottley. If either of them drop out, I don't know if I'm sticking around. But knowing that, that you're recommending it and they're sticking around together, then I'm excited for it and I'm going to keep reading it.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm sorry, Bill. Maybe something else next time. Maybe the next thing will be for you.
Yeah, probably not. It's okay. I'm used to it, guys.
So speaking of things that you guys dug, did either of you read more Outcast? Because you were gonna.
I still want to. I was actually thinking about that today because I've been kind of reading this, and I've been reading some other things, which we'll get to. I'll tell you about that. But I do want to pick that back up.
Yeah.
So we went out with our friend Mike, who was a fan of the podcast, minister of the podcast, and he suggested some stuff. Ryan, you suggested some stuff. So that's what I was doing. I still have to read the Department of Truth.
Second issue of 8 Billion Genies came out. I picked that up today and haven't gotten a chance to read it yet.
So I read that as well, which was really, really good.
Which got picked up by Amazon.
It did?
8 Billion Genies got picked up by Amazon. Yeah.
Everything does.
I know a lot of
by somebody.
I know a lot of stuff does, but this is a really cool concept.
It's a great Amazon show.
This would be really good.
Great Amazon show. But I am absolutely going to go back to Outcast.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're into other stuff. So yeah, what else? What are you reading, TJ?
Oh, Bill, go ahead. I mean, continue. You were saying.
No, I was just answering. Like so I haven't read Outcast because I'm reading these other things. Also, The Nice House on the Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read that?
Did you read all of it?
How much did you read any of it, TJ?
Yeah, I'm caught up on it.
I'm not caught up. I read the first trade, I believe.
And
I've heard really good things. And I think I might read it.
The cliffhanger will make you mad.
Yeah.
It's great. It is. I feel like if anything gets picked up for a show, it should be because it's very like, it's not like Hulk, it's not like, it's very much like a story, with a whole bunch of characters in a house, and it's awesome. The characters are all have very much their own personalities, and it's just like the story, like the dialogue is great. Yeah, and I mean, it's James Tynion. Come on.
Yeah.
There's fun things that keep happening. It's not like the same shtick. Like it just every issue there's like a new thing. You're like, oh yeah, that's kind of.
And that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Do you know what it's about, Ryan?
I got the our friend Mike when we went out with him gave me the premise, and that's all I want to know. That's it. That was enough to be like, all right, yeah, I'll check it out. So, I've been, I feel like there's been a little bit of a gap since the last issue of Saga, but that's still going strong. I do really like that. I do feel like I need to just binge it though, because I keep forgetting that it's still ongoing. Like we've waited forever for it to be out, and now that it's out once a month, I read it, I really like it, and then I forget about it, and it doesn't have the lasting effect, like like we've talked about. Of course, Massiverse stuff, including Radiant Black. That last issue was awesome that they did the animated shorts inside the...
And it wasn't just this 1 minute little fucking thing. Like it's
a fully produced...
It's got some meat to it.
It looks legit. Like it looks like a legit animated.
It is, it's super legit. That was awesome.
Yep. All the other Massiverse stuff, Rogue Sun, Radiant Red have all been really good. Really looking forward to Dead Lucky. That comes out in a month or so. That's gonna be really good. Other comic books still
Batman,
keeping up.
White Knight,
so I
guys,
need.
Beyond the White Knight.
I know.
I always try, because again, it those kinds of things are better when you read them all together. However, Sean Gordon Murphy is going to be at Fan Expo Canada, which I am at least going to go to. I don't know if you guys will, but
maybe I'll go for a day.
I will need to catch up before then, so I am gonna read all of them, but I'm gonna fucking wait until I like to read them all at once, so I'm gonna wait until right before I go to Fan Expo.
He's someone that I would absolutely not feel bad geeking out over and just telling him how much I fucking love because we have so much in common. Like the stuff that he writes into these stories. Yeah. He loves Keaton. He fucking loves Azrael. Like he shares that love of Batman. Dude, and it's
the very specific Batman that you like. Dude, and all the iterations that you like.
You can tell that I could be like Keaton. He'd be like, bro, Keaton. And we would just talk for days about it. Like that's
I'm going to make a big statement.
All right.
Name a better writer/artist than Sean Gordon Murphy. That is the writing and the art is just that good. And no disrespect to any other, but he's just awesome. Like his writing is incredible and his art is amazing.
Yeah, there's not
I love them both equally.
You feel like the way that he writes, and it's not just his writing in general, the actual dialogue you're reading is so punchy and so good. The little Easter eggs he puts in there is amazing, but his overarching story, his narrative is really fucking good and super strong. And then his art,
Batman,
his art style, Red Hood. Guys, it's already iconic. He has a style that is just so him.
What's cool is when I read the first two volumes, the first two, arcs or whatever of his Batman, I hadn't felt that way about a Batman anything since the Arkham universe, because it felt so rich and specific in its style and everything, and tight,
and tight,
it just feels cohesive and well thought out. And it's in this ball of tightness, like you said, Ryan. Yes. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate in a story, and I think that that's what I'm really excited about, catching up on his runs. So
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I played and finished. Are we moving on from comics?
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about.
The video game, The Quarry.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things about that.
Don't spoil. I loved the first one. It's not a sequel or but
it's Until Dawn-ish, right?
Until Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to know my opinion of it?
Yeah.
So don't let this deter you, but Until Dawn is better. In my opinion, hands down better.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed The Quarry. I thought it was really, really good. I did like it. There are some things that I want to talk to you about after that. Some things I loved and some things I didn't care for. But yeah, I thought it was good.
I'm hoping for a tone. All I'm hoping for is a fun tone. This is a campy horror movie tone. Scream. I Know What You Did Last Summer, like that kind of slasher horror flick. Until Dawn was really good because it like changed.
I loved Until Dawn.
It changed genres and it did it really well. Like it meshed all of them kind of together. Ryan, did you play on? Oh no,
I played some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets really fucking good, man.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
I am maybe I could say halfway. I don't know for sure, but I feel like I'm roughly halfway through the Guardians of the Galaxy game. I started it about a month ago and haven't played it for about a week and a half.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I just haven't gotten a chance to get to it, and now it feels like I have a hard time picking it back up.
This is the game that never ends. Like it just keeps
really. Oh, then I'm probably not halfway then. Probably 25%.
So without spoilers. How far
very,
are you?
very light spoilers. It's in the trailer or in like the early stuff. There was I just had to pick one of my teammates to offer up as to sell basically to this person that collects, like a collector type person. And I'm a little bit.
You're not even halfway.
I'm a little bit after that though. Okay. That was just the last big thing that I could think of. I think
you're not even in like the story. Like the story hasn't even started.
Jesus.
That's what makes it feel so long. Like I liked it. I thought that it was good.
The thing is, I really like the characters. I really like the conversations, and I know this is what everybody said when the game was out, and I heard all this conversation.
Yeah.
But the gameplay, man, I just don't care about at all.
It's so boring, dude.
I just don't care about the gameplay, and that's what's rough about it. And I can't stand the huddle. I don't know. I'd like to finish it because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy the characters. I'm really interested in the story and their dynamic between each other, and I think it's going to be worth it for that alone.
Yeah.
But it's just going to feel like a little bit of a job.
I stopped playing it, bro.
Oh, you didn't finish it?
No, I probably played like the bigger part of 3/4. Mm-hmm. Like literally I probably have like maybe 20% left. And I was just like, the gameplay, like it's not fun to play. Like it's not, it got to a point where it was so redundant that I was just done.
Yeah.
Redundant.
Phil, please tell me that you finished Obi-Wan.
I haven't.
Oh, wow.
I had to wait for Liz. I'm on episode 4, I think.
Wow.
So.
All right. Well,
it was so good.
I loved it. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Not a big fan of the Star Wars shows, but that one, man, they got me.
Have either of you watched Miss Marvel?
Nope.
It's actually might be. I don't know.
Don't say it.
The best one. People, that's TJ, everyone's saying
it is way better than you're expecting. Like
no one's watching it, but it's the best thing, apparently.
It is so good. Like the quality alone, the characters, like it's just fun, feel good, and it's like, you know how like the Hawkeye trailer and everything like that, it was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fun and feel good, but it still felt like a TV show, and there is still some things that were just like, this.
Where are you putting it? What Marvel shows are better than this?
Loki and WandaVision.
You're saying that this is better than Hawkeye?
Yeah. So far. Again, there's only 3 episodes. It could get bad. I don't know.
So you're saying Loki and WandaVision are better?
Yeah. What was the one that just came out?
So far. Again, so far. The show is not over yet.
Better than Moon Knight.
Yeah. Moon Knight was 50% good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
3 good episodes, 3
ironic.
bad.
I agree.
Ironic.
It is. Yeah. It is ironic. But definitely better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. Definitely better than What If. I mean, what else was there? Yeah. I don't know. I'm just really, it's just good. Like I can't think of a complaint that anyone would have. You know what I mean?
It just looks really like, it looks Disney Channel. It looks
Hannah Montana. It looks like Hannah Montana.
I thought it did too, watching the trailer. And I was like, okay, just got to prepare myself. This is what we're in for. It's going to be that kind of show. And you know what, man? I don't know if that's why, but and again, apparently I'm not alone. Like anyone that's actually watching it is raving about it. So check it out. I think it's really good. It's just, yeah. The Boys is absolutely insane. I can't believe.
I forgot about The Boys. It
show.
Is. Yeah.
I can't believe that show.
I'm like, it started out and I'm like I watched I think the first episode and I was like, all right, like, I guess I'll get back into The Boys. And like, I liked it. And it was just like, it was what it was. But then I was like, holy shit, like I'm really enjoying this. Like a second episode on, and then the Hero-gasm episode. Dude, holy shit.
Every episode, that felt like the characters, man. The characters, I mean, every single character is so good. Homelander is really good. Insane.
But how many times can you watch Homelander in every scene be evil and crazy? Like
they keep one up in themselves. But they do. I know. I don't know.
But then how do people still like him in that world? How are people like?
No, you haven't watched past the first season, right?
No, dude, I started the second season and I'm like, I'm done with the show. Like I was
like that early in season 2. Like I liked one more than I thought I would. I was like, okay, and I'm not one for gratuitous gore or violence or just being like that, which is why the comic never really interested me. But man, like they back it up. This
has been the
acting,
best season.
Yeah, dude, the acting, the story, the where they're taking these characters and what they're getting away with, and you never see it coming. Like the way they
that's what's crazy is that it's a superhero. Like you don't know what's coming next, and you're like, oh well, he can't do that because that would completely ruin his character, and then he fucking does it, and he just deals with the consequences of it. Like in the next episode, like it's just crazy. Like you're like, holy shit! It's
like there's no way. Like for example, okay, I see what they're doing. They're gonna set those people up. Maybe they'll fight in like the finale. No, they're just gonna fight in the second episode.
Like
they'll just do. They're breaking rules, and it's like really good. Like I'm serious, man. It's actually shocking.
It's very good.
So
it's good.
I'm shocked because I saw something because I don't care about the show about Black Noir in particular. And they changed him, like who he is compared to the comic, and no one.
Wait, compared to the comic? Did you read the boys' comic?
No.
You're saying that there are fans online of the comic who didn't like how they changed him in the show.
I can't remember if I did. I don't think I read it, but I did like a keynote. Like I just kind of like skimmed through like what the comic was and like big parts in it and stuff like that, and. One of the coolest things I thought about it was Black Noir and what he was. And then they changed it in the show and no one's mad about it. And I would be fucking livid about that change.
I can see this show, again, I don't know exactly what you're talking about. There's some interesting stuff going on with him in the show right now, but I can see there being massive changes in this show from the comic and people not caring because it's that good. Like
because it's that
good.
Yeah,
would you like me to tell you what?
Off air. When we're done recording, I want to know.
And we're caught up on the show.
Yeah,
so.
New episode's probably tonight, actually. But yeah, moving on from the other things, I know Stranger Things, tomorrow. That comes out as of this recording today, as this listening.
Is it coming out weekly?
No, the second part,
half.
Which is 2 episodes, which is like 4 hours. It's crazy. Like
really, I didn't watch the first half yet.
2 hours
of season
Either
4.
Have I.
You didn't?
No, I've heard awesome things.
It was really good.
I need to watch it. Now that I got Obi-Wan and all these other shows kind of out of the way, and the second half is out, I'm ready to start doing that. But other than that, Top Gun was incredible. TJ, we've seen that since the last recording. Yeah, I think that's just about it for other stuff. We could probably wrap it up here. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, any other shout outs, we got C2E2 coming up. We got Skybound X25 coming out this month, sometime in July. And we'll be, please let us know what your thoughts on that. Send in some emails. We want to hear what you think, your reactions of what happens in that issue. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about a new issue of Invincible. Oh, shoot. There was one more news item. You're going to get a bonus thing here at the end of the episode that we didn't talk about. Other than the print that Ryan Ottley did for San Diego Comic-Con, he also mentioned to listener of the podcast, Mike Barrett, that he's been drawing some covers, some new variant covers for Invincible on what he says are key issues. So at some point, maybe within the next year or so, there will be maybe random key issues of Invincible being re-released with variant covers. What is that?
Are there any anniversaries coming up? Like he could be doing it to like.
My guess is
maybe start. What's it called? Start promoting season 2.
My thing is
next year.
Yeah, my thing is there. Maybe first thing was like, okay, maybe for like Comics Vault Live or Whatnot sales or something like that, reprints. But then the other thing, like what they did with issue 1 in the lead up to the show, maybe in the lead up to season 2, they start doing that again. Like you're saying, TJ, maybe some key issues featuring some characters' first appearances that we're hoping to see in season 2. Maybe like an Angstrom Levy,
first 16
first appearance, that kind of stuff. Where maybe he's drawing like TJ. There might be a new Angstrom Levy variant, like reprint of that issue. Like that would be cool. That was the first thing I thought of when he was saying key issues.
Yep.
And then of course any like crazy key issues. If he's doing like, hey, here, like, man, if they were doing like a Walking Dead Deluxe type thing and he was coming back for some issues to do that, but that's pie in the sky. I think it's going to be a couple things in the lead up, through, for promotion purposes leading up to season 2 over the next year. So that's it.
Yep.
That's what I got. All right, guys. Remember, you can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Send us in some thoughts. Leave us a review over on Apple, iTunes. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe.
So subscribe to us on YouTube.
All that good stuff. And then we'll be back next month talking all about Skybound X25. Thank you for joining me, Bill and TJ.
Thanks for having us, Ryan.
You guys have a good night.
You too.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
See ya. Goodbye.
Bye.